us begin.
The trailer for Clive Barker's Hellraiser revival love story just dropped, and fans can't keep calm. This is going to be the very first video game adaptation of the franchise, and if the trailer is any evidence, this one is going to be one hair-raising ride. The intense and layered trailer had me hooked right from the start. How will the horrific Hellraiser universe look against the backdrop of intense love? You'll need to watch the trailer to see that. But even if you miss out on some details after watching the trailer, I have you covered. Today, I'll take you on a deep dive into the trailer once again and tell you 10 insane facts about the Hellraiser revival love story trailer that you may or may not have missed. Let's roll. Love can be as sweet as it is bitter. Even before the trailer starts amazing you, this line from its description gets you ready for what's to come. It's not just a phrase. It is the hook which will set the entire tone of the game. It's evidence of how Hellraiser revival love story will fuse romance and horror like never before. This isn't going to be a romance inside of a horror game, but romance will be the mechanism that creates the horror. The phrase has set this fixed emotional rule for the story before any plot details are even introduced. You will be Aiden, who is forced to descend into the darkest depths of the underworld on a journey to rescue your girlfriend Sunny. Aiden must use the power of the Genesis configuration to help Sunny escape from the labyrinth. Will it be possible to extract his love from the horrific clutches of the Cenobite? That's what the game's going to be all about. Maybe that's the bitter part of love showing up. That's also how Hellraiser mythology works in the first place. Desire always comes dressed as a gift. The punishment only follows after you accept the gift. I like how the trailer doesn't hide that anymore. Honestly, I love that confidence. Aiden's wrong person obsession. If you missed out on this detail from the trailer, you might miss the whole plot. Aiden is shown to be obsessed with Sunny, but his love interest, Sunny, might not exactly be the right person for him to fall for. There is surely something wrong with this girl. Did you notice how the trailer describes her? According to it, Sunny is already located inside the Cenobite-controlled realm, which is described as an eternal realm of torment within the labyrinth. That's not a normal danger zone from which she can be recovered easily. Aiden will have to make a deal with the Cenobites to save her. So, saving her will mean a bargain with hell itself. As the trailer reveals, she grows obsessed with the Genesis configuration. It's not clear if she's aware of the fact that this fun little puzzle box can summon the demonic Cenobites and their leader Pinhead. She might be a victim of the puzzle box or not, but one thing is clear. Her obsession with the box and Aiden's obsession with her will be the catalyst that opens the door to hell. Sunny is the only emotional catalyst working behind these events. After all, she's the only one for whom Aiden is prepared to trade his life and ultimately his own soul. It's Sunny's obsession with the puzzle box which opens the door to Cenobites and their realm. We know how in the Hellraiser universe, obsession turns out to be more dangerous than fear. The love turned sour tagline. You saw how the trailer literally calls this a love turned sour thing. It's quite easy to miss the impact of this important detail on the narrative amidst all the chaos. It means that the relationship between Aiden and Sunny is already damaged by the time the horror story unfolds. Even behind all the romance shown in the trailer, somewhere, their relationship is already cracked. This tagline now shows the story in its own sinister way. It's not about protecting pure love anymore. Their relationship has already crossed into a corrupted state, and we're about to witness what that corruption leads to. It is about entering hell after the emotional damage has already begun. Valentine's Day wordplay, suffering my Valentine. Did you notice how the description takes out the romance usually associated with Valentine's Day and mixes in its own dark shade? Insane wordplay, I would say. What is supposed to be a hardcore romantic story is now a dark romantic gag. Just one difference though. Instead of naming a person, the sentence addresses suffering itself. And that's a heavy warning for the things to come. The line is not describing what happens to Aiden and Sunny. It's just a form of address. But look where it's placed too. It lies immediately after the love can be as sweet as it is bitter line, and also before any mention of Aiden, Sunny, or the Cenobites. Love is introduced first, and then suffering is addressed as the romantic counterpoint. That placement of the Valentine's reference means suffering itself would be the central emotional object of the story. Fans similar with the Hellraiser universe will already know the theme of pain and pleasure involved in the Cenobite world, and this line is literally speaking to it, as if suffering is an entity in itself. It's easy to miss when the line flashes past in the description, but when you ponder on it, you really see the implications. The Genesis box is a deal maker. Most of us still treat the puzzle box like a gadget for dark magic. It might be that, but the trailer and gameplay notes also make it clear that the Genesis configuration is not going to be just a tool anymore. It will be the very reason why Aiden will be forced into negotiation. The box is the mechanism which will make the deal possible in the first place, and the wording surrounding it is quite brutal as well. Aiden must unlock the dark powers of the Genesis configuration and therefore must bargain with the Cenobites. The gameplay footage also shows that Aiden is forced to unlock those dark powers in a desperate attempt to rescue Sunny. So if you see it, the Genesis configuration is framed as the gateway to negotiation with Hell. And who knows if the box will really even help it. But for the moment, it could be a bargaining chip which will buy temporary mercy from creatures that don't actually value mercy. The choice of Dealmaker is quite ironic actually. After all, the Genesis configuration is the very thing which has put Aiden in that place. And now, it's also helping him negotiate. Pinhead's voice as a soul domination device. Another crucial detail you might have missed in the trailer is about Pinhead's voice. In the trailer, he just shows up for a quick moment, but that's not what's actually happening here. Pinhead's not just there all the time, but his voice is actually used to control Aiden. Also, it was a big treat for my ears to hear Hellraiser icon Doug Bradley voicing Pinhead. His distinct and sinister iconic voice really amps up the horror quotient. But his voice is much more than just a cameo. It's a tool of control over Aiden's fate. The scariest part for me in all of this is that Pinhead doesn't sound angry. He doesn't even sound rushed. He just sounds eerily calm. That voice is definitely a soul domination device. Aiden's soul is not his anymore. Its fate will be decided by what Pinhead says to him. Imagine the horror. The labyrinth as a love prison. We know how Aiden will have to descend into the deepest depths to rescue Sunny from an eternal realm of torment within the labyrinth. That sounds a lot like a dungeon, but if you look at it emotionally, it's something much darker. The labyrinth is actually a relationship trap. Sunny is not just physically imprisoned, but is frozen in a place that exists only because Aiden can't let her go. In a way, the labyrinth has become a trap built around his obsession with her. All of this exists because Aiden chose to keep loving someone the wrong way. When I rewatched the trailer with this angle, it felt intimate to me in a very disturbing way. Like a private hell constructed for just one broken promise. Maybe that's what the labyrinth actually is. Cultists loyal to the Cenobites. Another detail from the trailer that quietly deepens everything is how it describes cultists who are loyal to the Cenobites. This changes the very tone of every encounter. The cultists can't be victims, they're believers. They willingly serve the Cenobites' ideology of pleasure through pain, which means Aiden won't only be fighting the Cenobites. In a way, he's fighting the converts. They are people who have already accepted what he is still trying to negotiate. This small detail matters because it shows that the Cenobites are not just some isolated horror mechanism. They have their own influence and even forms of worship. Their followers don't see Aiden's suffering as tragedy, but as a spiritual progression. This rescue mission has now turned into an unholy war, not just against the dimension of hell, but also against its church. Will Aiden succeed given the massive stakes? The box is a pleasure and pain weapon. I was really impressed by the gameplay descriptions. The weapons and abilities tied to the Genesis configuration are clearly shown as instruments of both pleasure and pain. Yeah, it's hard to fathom at first glance, but the puzzle box grants not only pain, but also pleasure in its own twisted form, especially in the way it expresses the sensations. This means Aiden will be forced to use the same emotional language as the Cenobites. Every attack will be a dual experience of pain and pleasure. It's also a fact that the box is very powerful, and somehow it will try to influence Aiden with the same worldview he's supposedly fighting. Even if he tries to use it as a weapon, it will try to reshape the very person holding it. That's some serious Hellraiser stuff. Trailer timing. Valentine's Day bait. This particular detail about the trailer really made me grin in a painful way. The trailer has been deliberately dropped just before Valentine's Day. It can't be just a coincidence. This is a classic example of weaponizing marketing as a theme. There are so many gaming studios pushing romance and warmth around this time, but only Hellraiser Revival Love Story shows you what happens when you refuse to let go. The trailer even shows the love story angle for this exact reason. And why not? Nothing opens people up emotionally more than romantic expectations, especially around Valentine's Day. Hellraiser Revival trailer doesn't really fight the season. It just kind of infects it with its own signature twisted style. And that is beautifully cruel branding, to be honest. I will tell you honestly, I walked into this trailer expecting shock, and I really got one when I saw how easy love can become a doorway to hell. Hellraiser Revival Love Story is not just selling horror, it's the delight of love and hardcore romance wrapped up in classic and insane Hellraiser brutality. We're hoping to get our hands on this game soon, although we don't have an official confirmation regarding the exact date as of yet. But I'm keeping my fingers crossed for this absolute extravaganza.